problem with this is that most people who are working a 9 to 5, right? Who are working a 9 to 5, they have been told that you gotta be diligent, you gotta work hard at your job, right? That is good to do, but now you gotta understand that if you are working for a boss, right, who doesn't recognize you, who abuses you, and who doesn't appreciate your efforts, they're not gonna increase your rates per hour. And most Hey, how's it guys? Welcome back to our YouTube channel. My name is Tim Shows. Guys, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, don't forget to hit the notification button. Guys, also don't forget to hit the comments, because I want to engage with you guys so that I can understand what you guys are going through. What are your thoughts when you're watching this content, right? So guys, in this video, it's one of my most exciting videos because I'm gonna be talking about something that everybody is talking about, right? And that thing is called money, right? So if I was doing this video in a huge, audience, I was gonna make everybody to scream and say money, right? So this is one thing I discovered before we get into the content of this video, is that the best time to learn about something is when you don't have it, right? So what do I mean by that? The best time to learn about money is when you don't have money, right? So in this video, I just want to show you a money formula, right? Maybe you have been watching YouTube for a longest time. Maybe you've been reading books, trying to understand this thing called money, right? But it's always boiled down to a very simple equation. So I'm a person who loves math. So I have a background of mathematics, right? I was a science student back in high school, and also in varsity I did chemical engineering. So I love math. I'm a mathematical person, right? So when I speak about equations, when I speak about formulas, I speak about things that I love, right? So I just want to show you a very simple money formula, right? I'm telling you guys, if you can master this formula, you're gonna fix your money issues, right? So it doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter which skin color you are, this equation works for everybody, right? In fact, when I discovered it, I was like, I so wish that I was told this equation very early, but I mean, Kiyosaki once said, a mentor will show up sometimes when a student is ready, right? So I think maybe this is the time where we had to discover this truth, right? So I'm just gonna write it down and then we're gonna talk about it, right? So guys, be ready to be blown and be ready to be inspired, right? So it's a very simple equation, right? So I'm just gonna write it on this board. So money, right? Money equals time times effort. Guys, this is the equation, right? If you can master this equation, I am telling you, you're gonna turn around your life, because you will understand why you have more money or why you have less money, right? So when I look at this equation, I think of variables, right? So I have three variables here. I have money, I have time, I have effort, right? So I want us to play around with this equation so that we can see what we need to do for me and you to make more money, right? So I want us to look at case number one, right? So let's look at case number one, right? So case number one, it's when we increase, right? We increase. What are we increasing? We increase our time. right? So in this equation, we increase our time, but we are maintaining the same effort, right? So the first case to make more money is that you gotta increase your time on the same effort. So this is already happening for some of you guys. Maybe you've never sat down and looked at it, but it's already happening for some of you guys, right? So this is where a person who's working, they work an overtime, right? An overtime, right? Or they are called for a call out, right? Or they are on standby, right? Etc. So a person who is working, they will be familiar with these concepts. Basically, working in overtime, being called on a call out, or being on standby, like working your shutdown, right? Shutdown, or your emergency. Actually, all these things, they fall into under one category, which is increasing your time. So when you do this, you are increasing your time, and when you're increasing your time, you're gonna make more money. So this is case number one, right? Now the problem with this case is that when you work too much overtime, you're gonna be exhausted, right? So make sure that after you've worked these long hours, you give yourself a break to go and relax, to recharge, and also to enjoy your money, right? But this is the case number one. Most people who are working, they are working this case, right? Now the challenge is that there are careers or jobs where you don't work overtime, where you are working a fixed time. So for that case, this will not apply because you are working a fixed time, right? I've seen it today that most skills-based careers, people are called to work in overtime, right? So I have a background of like chemical engineering, where I was working a fixed time, right? And there were people who were less privileged than me, which means who did not study what I studied, but they ended up making more money because their work structure allowed them to work in overtime, allowed them to be on a call out or to be on a standby. So you gotta understand this formula, you gotta understand this thing, guys, because sometimes you can study a hardest career or do a hardest job, but don't get paid more. So you gotta understand, right, what is happening in your job. Case number two, right? So case number two, I want us to look at the case where what happens when we maintain the same time but increase our efforts, right? So in this case, we are increasing the efforts, right? Remember, guys, this is just this equation. But now, on the same time, right? On the same time. So when you do this, you will come out as a person whom we call a passionate worker, right? Or a hard worker. A hard worker, right? So if you work the same fixed hours but add more efforts in your job, you will come out as a worker who is a hard worker, right? You will come out as a person who is very passionate, right? Now, the problem with increasing your effort while working your fixed hours is that you don't get paid per effort. You get paid per time. Because remember, your rate, it's per hour. Your rate is not per effort. So you can put more effort in your job, but if you're not increasing your time, you're not going to make more money, right? And the problem with this is that the good side is that you're going to build a good profile, right? So when you are working hard in your job, even if you are working the same fixed amount of time, you will build a good profile. You will build a good CV, but that's not a guarantee that you will be promoted, right? The problem with this is that most people who are working a 9 to 5, right? Who are working a 9 to 5, they have been told that you gotta be diligent, you gotta work hard at your job, right? That is good to do, but now you gotta understand that if you are working for a boss, right, who doesn't recognize you, who abuses you, and who doesn't appreciate your efforts, they're not gonna increase your rates per hour. And most people have been discouraged because they have been diligent, they've been working hard at their jobs, and they've worked for bosses who cheated them, right? Maybe you are watching this video, you feel like that is you. What I can say is that there's a scripture in the Bible that says, whatever you do, do it as you are doing it to the Lord. So what does that mean? Don't work hard at your job for your boss, but work hard at your job for God and for yourself, right? Never ever make your boss your motive to work hard, because you can work hard and still not get the promotion. You see, these things are happening to our brothers and sisters, to our mothers and fathers in the workplace. And that's why now there is a spirit in a workplace of just doing a little, because it doesn't matter to go overboard because I don't get recognized, right? I'm just gonna show you in the Bible a passage, a story of Jacob, right? Because I want you to understand that you are not alone, right? These things have been happening since the beginning of time, right? So I'm gonna read in Genesis chapter 30. When you read Genesis chapter 30, I'm gonna read verse 25, right? I wanna show you a story of a person who was working hard in a company for 20 years, right? So Jacob was working for Laban, right? Laban was his manager for 20 years. And Jacob was robbed of what he truly deserved, right? So I'm going to read chapter 30, verse 25, right? So it reads like this. Soon after Rachel had given birth to Joseph, Jacob said to Laban, please release me so that I can go home to my own country, right? Verse 26. Let me take my wives and children, for I have earned them by serving you. And let me be on my way. You certainly know how hard I have worked for you. You see, when you are a hard worker at your job, you know that you work hard, and also people can see that you are working hard. But now Jacob is showing us an image or a picture where everybody knew that he was working hard, but he was being robbed of what he truly deserved, right? Now let's read verse 27. This is Laban replying now. He says, please listen to me. He's speaking to Jacob. Laban replied, I have become wealthy. That is his boss speaking to Jacob. I have become wealthy, for the Lord has blessed me because of you. Right? So what we are seeing here, the boss can see that you are an asset in the company. But now they are refusing to increase your rate. I want to encourage you as you are watching this video that don't be a hard worker for your boss. Don't be a hard worker to impress other people. Be a hard worker because that is who you are. And gain as much experience as you can, because sooner or later, God is going to open a door for you where your hard work will be appreciated. Right? I've heard so many stories of people who have been robbed. They used their experience there and the door was opened somewhere else. And when the door was opened, now the company realized that, let's increase your rates as a way of holding you back. You see, we are working in a very broken world, guys. So that's what happens when you increase your efforts, right? Now let's go to case number 3. This one is my favorite case, right? So when you go to case number 3, right? So case number 3, we want to see what happens when we increase both time and effort, right? So here we increase both, right? Here we increase both time and effort, right? Personally, for me, this is the best case. If you can work case number 3, I'm telling you, you will make more money, right? And the best way for you to increase your time and your effort is that you gotta buy another person's time and effort, right? The best way to increase your time, both your time and effort at the same time, is that you gotta buy. I love the word buy another person's another person's time and effort. That's it, guys. You gotta buy another person's time and effort. That's the only way you're gonna increase both your time and effort. And there are 2 ways to do that. Number one, it's either you become a manager, right? So if you are a manager at your job, you are managing other people's time and effort. The more people you manage, the more money you make, because you are managing people's time and effort, right? So there are people who are under you who have devoted their time and effort, right? But the best one, which is number 2, is to have a business, right? This is the best way. People don't understand business. Business, it's a platform where you can buy another person's time and effort, right? That's why the return on investment for a business cannot be quantified, because it's always increasing if you are doing your business the right way. Because running a business, yes, it is a little bit demanding and stressful than the other, like case number 1 and 2. But I'm telling you, the rewards of a business is that the more time and effort of people that you are buying, the more money you can make. I want to challenge you, right, that if you are already a hard worker, at your job, I would highly advise that you can open a business. Because business demands hard work, right? And what is nice about business, if you are working hard in your business, you know that you will be reaping the harvest later, because you are working hard on something where you know very well that you're going to be the first and the last beneficiary, right? So if you are already a hard worker, start a business, because business is not for lazy people, right? So guys, this is the formula. So never ever, look at another person and envy them in terms of what they are doing, right? Business is not about showing people how smart you are. Business is actually buying another person's time and effort. I love John D. Rockefeller. He said, that was a very powerful statement. He said, I rather use 1% of 100 people's efforts than to use 100% of my own efforts. Why? It's because he understood this concept that if he wants to make more money, you gotta buy another person's time and effort. Hence, that's why he was a billionaire, right? I'm telling you, the upside of a business cannot be quantified, cannot be limited, because the more you buy people's time and efforts, the more money you'll make, right? Remember, the more you buy people's time and efforts, the more money you make. So guys, I'm sure now you understand the money equation, right? So you gotta choose which game you gotta play. Obviously, each game has its own pros and cons, right? But now you gotta understand that the best way for you to make more money, you gotta open a business, right? Yes, business is a little bit harder than the other ones because in business you will be both responsible and also accountable, right? Whereas on the other ones you are just responsible. If the company shuts down, it's not your responsibility to save it, right? But if your business is struggling, you need to account, you need to find a way to bring it back. Hence, that's why I'm creating these videos, because I'm creating content which is mostly tailored for entrepreneurs, right? Because there are so many people who want to start businesses, but they don't know the how to. They don't know the motivation, or they don't know the simplest way to start a business. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure you see where you play here and make sure that you take a right decision. So please hit me in the comments. Let me know which case you are in. Are you in case number 1, or are you in case number 2, or are you in case number 3? So thank you so much guys, and I will see you in the next video.